All right, here we are for tonight's live episode of The Reel Down. We'll give everybody a few minutes to get on here, share it, like it, all that good stuff.
And then share it some more and like it some more. And
yeah, share it on all your pages.
Send it to anybody that doesn't even, fish or care. Grandmothers, aunts, uncles, we don't care.
Yeah. Family members, like random people you don't even like. Pastors.
All the Facebook groups you never do anything with.
Yeah. Work associates,
This is definitely work related.
It's not.
I'd like to say this is the two most professional people you'll see on the internet today, but
no,
that's not true either.
The God's chicken. All right. So here we go. It's been a few minutes. We got 9 people on. We'll have some more people getting on here as we go. So welcome to The Reel Down. Now on Monday nights, live, 8 p.m. Central, and this is going to be our new time slot and what we're going to do every week. So, yeah, if you enjoy watching the show rather than being on Fridays, where you can podcast it, and this will be on tomorrow on a podcast where you can listen to it if you didn't tonight. So maybe you're already listening to us in the future. Who knows? But, thanks for listening, and we have my new co-host. This is his second full show now. Jimmy Skinner.
And then we jump straight into live, man. I'm not even getting broke in yet.
No,
but thanks everybody for tuning in. We got a pretty big first live show. You'll see in just a second when we bring them in. Looking forward to having some fun with them and, work with us a little bit. We're doing the live thing, kind of new, just me and him. So we'll see how it goes, but go ahead and bring them in, Dan.
Hey, what's up, Justin Staley? And we got Lawrence here. What's up from Yorktown, Virginia? Hey, all right. So on the show tonight, we have 2 of the best fishermen in the country. They placed first and second place. Well, first they won their own day, because there was one day, 25 people on 5 Live. They won a group of 5. They made it then to a championship and then placed first and second. We have, in no particular order, Jaxton Orr, the Phenom, and Cody Milton, the Arkansas Hammer there.
What's up, guys? What's up?
Yeah, welcome.
Hey, how you guys doing?
So start off and tell us where you're at in the country.
Yeah, I'm in Fort Wayne, Indiana right now. So
at the boat ramp.
It looks like it. Yeah, no, I'm all ready to go for Chickamauga here this week. So
I guess I'm not coming then. I'm just gonna keep my money.
Coming down, huh?
Yep, I'm going to for the Bass Nation recruitment event, so I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah. Jimmy's one of the directors. He'll be there too.
Oh, really? That's awesome. Yeah, see you there then.
Yeah, it's the Alabama,
Tennessee,
Georgia one. Yeah,
and he's the Alabama Bass Nation director. So Cody, where are you? I know you're there at your house, but where are you at, man? Where do you live?
Man, I'm in Central Arkansas and Searcy, Arkansas right now.
Okay. If somebody's somehow been living under a rock and they don't really follow tournament kayak fishing, they're just getting into it. Cody, tell us all about yourself. Give us a little rundown.
I think this is my 5th year kayak fishing. I kind of grew up in the kind of bass fishing world, following my dad around the country, doing co-angler events and stuff like that. But I mean, for me, I guess since I guess it was 2000 and it was right at like 5 years ago. This is like between this and working at my parents' company, downtown at Beyond Boundaries, and we've also have a t-shirt company downtown. So that's pretty much all I do. I guide some for Tailwater Fishing Company and a couple other trout fishing companies on the Little Red River. But for the most part, I fish full time, and it's been a blessing. I hope it continues every day, but we'll see.
And Jaxton, tell us about yourself, man.
Yeah. So this is my 4th year on the kayak fishing scene. I mean, I've always been fishing my whole life since I can remember. I think I started when I was like 5 years old. I'd always look forward to when my dad got home from work, we go down to the ponds, go catfishing and bass fishing with like bobbers and hot dogs or bagels or whatever. And I mean, it's all escalated from there. And I mean, like Cody's saying, I mean, it's a blessing to be able to do this and to be able to fish across the country. And I mean, appreciate you guys having us on tonight.
Yeah, man.
Well, it definitely sounds like you were raised right, and I'm sure Cody was too. So so now we got that out of the way. You've been fishing 5 Live. This awesome event Scott put on, if Scott Butcher, 5 Live, and it's amazing what he was able to put together in such a short amount of time. You both won your first days. So, Cody, if you want to, go ahead and tell us about how you made it to the championship, and I'll give the numbers here. You won with 91 and a quarter. You won, your margin of victory was 35.5 inches, and this was against Matt in week 3 against Matthew Scotch, Eric Siddiqui, Jake Harshman, and Russ Snyders. It's ridiculous. Some of the 25 people. I mean, it's a who's who of kayak fishing, and the 25 people who y'all went against, and y'all went up against a crazy
all of the hammers.
Yeah.
All of them.
So tell us about your day one.
It was I'd fished a lot that week, which for me, I don't really usually get to fish a whole lot when I'm back home. And with the quarantine and kind of everything that was going on, I had been fishing a lot. Like I had been going, like every other day type deal. And I'd had some buddies come down. Eric Siddiqui and Mel Ash had came down, and because like the bite I was on had been so good. Like, I mean, I think the week before that started, I had like 32 pounds, 28 pounds, like 31 pounds again. Like it was really it's a long story. I mean, now the lake's so blown up, it doesn't even matter. But the dam broke on the lake. Like one of my favorite lakes in the state.
Damn.
Yeah, the dam broke. And it broke probably 9-10 weeks ago, and the water's been like 9 foot low, and it's still a really deep lake. Like it's not like it's a creek still, like it's still a 30-40 foot lake, so it's set up really, really perfect for me. That week 3 that I was able to win, there was still a lot of fish spawning. I remember like that earlier in that week I'd found like several 4 to 5 pounders on beds and stuff. It wasn't like what I was doing, but I just knew there were still fish spawning. And it was like with the water being that low, it made that lake where if there was wood like exposed in the water, like there was a bass on it. Like it was crazy, and it was pretty dumb there for a little while. The lakes came up like 4 or 5 feet now, so it's not like quite as good as it was, but yeah, it was the first week I flipped a 1 1/4 ounce homemade jig that I made like the night before the whole
1 1/4.
Yeah, 1 1/4. Yeah.
Wow. I've heard Hackney say before that during the spawn, get it quick, and people
it was because your bites are so aggressive. Like, and I remember that week before I fished, I was seeing fish because I was flipping on laydowns and like making a ton of racket with that big old weight. And I was seeing fish come from like 7-8 foot away, like roll over a log in like a 5 pounder, get it. It was crazy.
Jesus.
It's not like that now, but it was a lot of fun. And I was fortunate to, to kind of like, the lake was still pretty unpressured to that point. So like that week I flipped like I flipped a 3/4 ounce homemade jig and a 1 1/4 ounce homemade jig the whole time.
So you caught 91 1/4 ounces in 2 hours and won $1,000 fishing pretty much the slowest technique possible.
That's about right.
That's crazy, man.
That's impressive, man.
They were so isolated though. It was like the day, like 2-3 days before, it was like, like I said, I brought Mel Ash out there, and I was like, look at this lay down. Like we'd flip in there, catch a 3-4 pounder. And it was like that, like come tournament day, which never happens.
Yeah, so, never.
no, it doesn't. And, for my first day of the championship, I was like I had like 104 inches, I guess, like on Wednesday before the championship. And that was like
just
the first day. Yeah, it was like the first day I went back out there. Like I fished for a few hours and like they were still there. But like I said, like I a lot of people kind of moved in the area, but yeah, it's different now. But yeah, that week 3 it was pretty automatic.
Were you like searching Tourney X? How many tournaments can I sign up for? How many tourney tags did you have on your board all at one time?
I'm not gonna lie. I've always it's Bear Creek is where I was at. It's in Marianna, Arkansas. It's a town of probably 400 people at max. Yeah. No, trust me. I was out there on Sunday. There was dozens of kayakers. It doesn't matter now. But yeah, like it was really cool. Like my mom's from the middle of nowhere down in East Arkansas, and like that she went to church camp on that lake, 40 years ago. So it was like it was really cool. Like she like her family had ran yo-yos out there 40 45 years ago, and I've only been going out there I guess 6 years now, but it was pretty cool. I'm glad I was able to do it out there.
Cool.
Everybody seems to have a good story like that where everything just lines up perfectly. I'm still waiting for one of those, so
Right.
hopefully I have something like that soon.
It'll happen
because I'm impatient. What about you, Jaxton? How was it for you, man?
Yeah, so
here's your numbers. So you won with 88 inches, 91 and 88 inches in 2 hours. This is crazy. You're the guy who everybody said it blew everybody's mind that you made the move during a 2 hour time frame. That was like the whole talk of the entire tournament. And so you won by 3 1/4 inches. Corey Dreyer had 84 3/4, and Dusty Yacker had 84 1/4. So I mean, they were giving you pressure, but that was against Corey, Dusty, Mel Ash,
Matt Ball.
Yeah, and Matt Ball. So there you go. So how do you do it? How do you make that $1,000, man?
Yeah, so I mean, it was crazy. Ever since I got the phone call from Scott the week before, early that week before, I think, or the week before that one. But ever since I got that phone call, I was pre-fishing. I mean, I was super excited to have that opportunity, and I mean, I didn't want it to go to waste. I wanted to do the best I could, and I mean, I fished probably 15 to 20 different lakes. I mean, it was crazy. Went all the way around northeast Indiana, little south of Fort Wayne towards that Indianapolis area. But I found this group of lakes. They're Pay Lakes, Poe Lakes in Hoagland, Indiana, and they were pretty small. Get fished here and there, not too much though. And in practice, I got on a really good bite. Our numbers were there, and for me, I just wanted to catch 5 fish, and I knew I could get 5 fish there, super easy, and which did happen. On I think it was week 3 or whatever week I think week 3. It did happen, and then there was a second Poe Lake right next to it, Big Poe Lake, and there were bigger fish in there. So, I mean, I started on Little Poe, got my limit, and then ran quick over to Big Poe and cold. And I mean, it helps me out a lot. I lost some big ones. I lost one that probably went 21, 22 right at the boat. It got the heart pumping, but it was a great day. It was a great day. I couldn't ask for anything better that day.
Very cool. And that was, and they were Pay Lakes, you said, right? Or just
yeah.
Which if anybody doesn't know, that was totally within the rules. And this isn't a regular tournament. There's something special that was put on, and I think that's something that we'll get to here in a little bit. Like if you'd want to see anything change, things like that. But yeah. So congratulations on your first day. I mean, that was to put up that much. I mean, we've been fishing the 4 hour deal. I can't imagine trying to do it in 2 hours. What was your strategy going into that? If this is going to happen later, would it only a 2 hour tournament? Would you change your strategy? Or, I mean, Cody, you were obviously on something stupid, so you knew what you were going to do. Would your strategy change if you didn't have that? Like you're just looking for 5 bites, or what's the strategy you have?
Yeah, I would. I mean, if there was more time, I'd definitely go somewhere different where I know I could, or where I could possibly get 5 big fish, I guess, in that longer time frame. And I mean, try to put up like closer to that 90 inch. to 100-inch range. But yeah.
And Cody, it was just like you knew you were going to massacre them. It didn't matter.
Man, to be honest, like I really don't have like a lot of other good lakes around me, so it wasn't for me. It wasn't much of a choice.
Yeah. Okay. So y'all both won, and then you made it to a championship with 7 people, the 5 original, and then 2 Westbrook wild cards, Tim Perkins and Craig Dye. So in the championship, you went. Hey, spoiler alert: Cody won. He won $2,250. He had that's because he had the big fish. $2,000 for winning. You had 48 and a quarter day one, and then 95 and a half total. And over the whole thing, you won $3,750. That's crazy.
Yeah,
and
Not bad for what, 6 or 7 hours of fishing total.
Yeah, I know, right? It was pretty cool.
Yeah, have you figured out what you made like per hour?
No, it's close to 1,000 though, I guess, right?
Don't hurt our feelings, man.
Yeah,
I'm from Mississippi.
I wish that was an everyday opportunity though.
And
Yeah,
Jaxton,
awesome.
you got second. You won $1,000 with your first win, and then $500 for second. You had 78 day one, and then 93 and a quarter overall. So, I mean, you didn't get beat by much there, just 2.5 inches. So, congratulations, both of y'all. So, what was your strategy since the first tournament was only 2 hours, and then this one was 2 2-hour days? How did your strategy change from one day to the next?
I mean, for me,
because you were in kind of a bad spot going into day 2.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And especially with like the weather that I felt like I had coming, like in all honesty, like I felt like all I had was Saturday. And week 3, I had a pretty good limit. And, I get to the ramp Saturday morning and there's like 26 boats there and a whole lot of kayakers. And I had never seen a kayaker there in 6 years. And,
you just got to stop and be like, look, I just need this place for 2 hours.
Yeah, they were kind of jacking with me too. I think it was kind of
break his paddle over your knee.
Yeah, it was odd, but like I said, I really spun out that first day. I was very fortunate to be able to, like, once I got back to like the area that kind of got me there, on week 3 or whatever. They were all back there. I mean, every best brush ball I had, there was somebody on, and it was a long run back to the main lake, and I knew I couldn't make it, and it was at that point with like 40 minutes left, I was like, I just need one good one today, and with like 20 minutes left, I get like a 19, and I like the big bass, or 18 3/4, the big bass on day 1. And I was like, there's a chance, and it was like, maybe the weather will break and something can happen on, Sunday for me. And like, I'm driving to the lake on Sunday and the sun pops out. And I mean, it was raining the whole way, like 2-hour drive. It's raining the whole way. And then like we get to the lake and the sun pops out. And I'm like, all right, this can make me happen. Yeah, so it was just like the heavens opened up. It was pretty cool.
So how do you catch them?
So that first day, I tried to force that same bite that I'd had. I was flipping like a 3/4 ounce and a 1 1/4 ounce jig. And I mean, that was pretty much all I did. In week 3, I had spent some time on some of my offshore shell beds, and so I was spending 10 minutes. I mean, I've got like dozens of shell beds on this lake, and I'd spent 10 minutes on like 3 or 4 of my best ones, and then ran to the back to start flipping for the rest of the hour and a half. And I pushed that the first day. Like, I blew through a lot more of the offshore areas that I had, and I wanted to give myself more time to flip. And like I said, that burned me, and so day 2, I was like, I mean, this thing's 2 hours long. Like, I don't have to be on my best water. I just have to be on the freshest water I have that's decent. And so I launched at 9 a.m. that day, and I like surveyed the lake to see where everyone was, because I didn't want to fish behind anybody. Like there, I didn't care that a bunch of people came out there. Like I just didn't want to fish behind somebody. And so I surveyed the lake, and I found like the best spot that I liked that, there wasn't somebody that had been on for a while. And I started there and ended up catching like 21 and a quarter there, like 15 minutes in.
$250.
Yeah, no, and it was the same spot. At the end of the day, I had made it to the very back of the lake, and there was like 25, 30 minutes left. And it was that decision where I could either go right and I could flip the good wood that kind of like got me to the championship and all that stuff, or I could go back out to the left and try to go to the left and live or die deep. And I knew all those kayakers were still back there from, seeing me back there. So I left it. I didn't even go back there the second day. And I ended up pulling back up on the same shell bed and caught a 19 and a quarter on the first cast. So it worked out really good.
Talk about everything falling in line.
Yeah, that's awesome.
Keeping your head in it, like, I know for me, if, like that spot in the history been working out for me, that's what I'm kind of playing my cards on. And then I see all these other kayakers out there all over my spot. That would have messed me up in my head so bad that I would have probably freaked out, especially since it's a 2-hour deal. All day I could probably figure something out, but be able to flip in 2 hours and take care of business, that's incredible, man.
Yeah.
And just be able to make that move on the fly to where, like you said, going back fishing history and where they're at, but just following your gut and saying, no, this is it. I mean, that was a move that did it. Sometimes it just feels right, and things go your way, man. Whenever it's your day, it's your day.
Yeah, I think there was like 16 minutes left or something when I got there. And like it took me like 11 minutes to get there. But I gave myself like 15 minutes to fish there, and that was the only one I caught, but it was the first cast. So
I'm sure you had that motor guide all the way up, huh?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, that thing was like cooking at 4.5 miles an hour. Actually, like I think Scott mentioned it. There was a couple times in that last hour where my motor guide was on full and I was paddling, like going 5.5, 6 miles an hour.
Still not going fast enough.
Yeah, like I was pushing it to some spots.
Next time you got to bring the pivot drive too, see if you can get up to like 7.
Get them all. Yeah.
Just pedaling, paddle, but that's the thing. Pedal power, paddle power. You can just do all
power.
It's not a choice. It's a and.
Yep.
Yeah. All right. Be the first guy to run the motor on the front and the back.
That's good work.
All right, Jaxton. How'd you do it? How'd you make your money, man?
Yeah, so I mean, I started off at Po Lakes. Obviously, I started off at my big fish spot, you could call it, on Big Po Lake, and I mean, I was catching them during practice, like 18, 19 inchers. I saw them too. I was they weren't on beds yet, but they were super close, and I knew it was going to be iffy if I went there Saturday, and they could be right in that stage where, I mean, they're about to get on beds and they're like lockjaw and everything. And I mean, they were on Saturday. I went to that first Po Lake, and I mean, they were there, but they just were not biting. So, I mean, my anxiety level was kind of going up a little bit. So it wasn't my plan, but I mean, just right on the dime, I had to switch lakes. I had to get my limit. Once I get my limit, I get that confidence and I can chase after those bigger fish. And that's what I did. And I went to the other lake, put up 78 inches, which, I mean, it's not really where I wanted to be after day one. But at the end of the day, it worked out. And then day two, or I guess after day one, after I finished at Little Po, I went back to Big Po to see what was going on.
Mm-hmm.
And I walked the shore, because you can walk the shoreline like a quarter of the way around the lake, and I saw like 95 to 100 inches of fish just like swimming around. And I tried casting in there. I tried everything, all different colors. They would just not even budge. So, I mean, I think I should have went there Friday evening to check that out. But Saturday night before day two, I was just brainstorming because I didn't want to. I don't think I could have won it if I went back to Poe Lake. So I went. I was brainstorming and going through some lakes and stuff that I knew I can get some big ones at. And there was a place in Roanoke, Indiana, a lake there that I've gone to twice, and I've done really good there both times. I at least caught a 20 or two 20s each time I've gone. And that's what I did, and it worked out for me. I lost a pretty good one at the end. I don't think it would have done that much for me, but it was exciting. It was awesome to figure out that I finished second, and I mean, I was telling everyone like, if I finished second to someone, I wanted I wanted to finish second to Cody. I mean, he's a straight up hammer.
That's right. If anybody has any questions for these two guys, let us know, and we'll ask them for you. Did y'all sleep at all between night 1 and 2?
I did some, and
Of course you did.
Yeah,
you're so blasé. Like you just, it's just in your nature, man. You're just zen. You're going to catch them. It's going to happen.
No, I'll tell you. But what was really weird about it was the fact that you fit like the tournament's over in 2 hours, and it's 11, 12 hours before you go to bed. And it's like a lot of times, you fish a tournament, like tournament's over at 3, 4, check-ins at 5, 5, 6, rigging at 8, in bed by 10. And it's like that dead time, you're not thinking a lot. And I thought more that afternoon than I probably thought in my entire life. I was just like, good grief,
I didn't think about the time. Yeah.
You don't think about that you have 12 hours of nothing in between that.
That is too much time to get in your own head.
It is. Yeah, it is.
What about you, Jaxton? You get any sleep?
Yeah, I mean, after day 1, like I said, I went back to a Big Poe Lake to check that out. But I went to 3 other lakes after that to see what I could do and see if I can find stuff. And I mean, I was driving, like I probably put 3 hours on the road after the tournament just to try to find a spot and try to find the big fish. But I mean, I did get some sleep, but at 3 o'clock, I'll be honest with you, Sunday morning, 3 o'clock, I mean, I just woke up and I just could not go back to sleep. I was thinking about the possible outcomes of the place I was going to. I knew there was big fish there, but there was some weather coming in and rain, and I didn't know if that was going to affect the service or the broadcast and if it was going to get my phone all messed up or something, but it worked out.
That's great, man. So there's a good question Brian just asked, and I know what picture he's talking about. Brian Schiller asked, what's Jackson's pregame ritual? He saw a photo that your dad posted. You want to tell us about that?
Yeah, so I guess my pregame ritual, I've started it probably since last November, I guess. It's been like kind of like a thing I do now, but the night before the tournament, I just go to our local church and everything, like pray and everything before the tournament. And then in the morning, what I do is I write Colossians 3, 23, 24 on my hand. I love to do that before every tournament. It just kind of, if I do good or bad, I mean, the man upstairs is always with you and you're always doing it for him. And that's why I love that verse. That's basically the summary of it. And just pray and then just hope for the best and do your best and leave everything on the water.
Y'all need to get right with God.
No,
it's good to be out there praying, man. Out there and praying.
That's great, man.
Heck yeah. All right, here's a question from Scott. What would make 5 live better for the anglers?
I knew Scott would be the one that would ask this question before we could. Go for it, Cody. What would make it better?
What do you want to see change?
So, I mean, I absolutely love the format. I mean,
Cody's like nothing. I won all this money. It's perfect.
I really
like it is, Scott.
I really do like it. Yeah. I don't think there's anything. I mean, maybe a couple things. Like, I think 3 hours opposed to 2 hours is a big deal. Yeah. And I think, just based on like people I've talked to and things. So, I mean, it was unbelievable the amount of people that watched this, like from my mom's friends, like to like my girlfriend's friends, like all kinds of people that don't even watch fishing. And they all watched it and they all like felt the pressure and felt the intensity of it, But like the one thing, like most of them said it was that they, they just like they would mainly just listen to it, because like the video wasn't always that great depending on where you were or what kind of service you had. So like that would be one thing is like maybe so if somehow we get some really unreal cameras and stuff, But I mean that's really that's tough to do, I mean, like a lot of people.
I'm sure he's got in the works and he's doing what he can.
Oh, absolutely.
For a first show, I mean,
just like you said, the amount of people and the different like kinds of people watching that right there will help get him what he needs to get that equipment to make that happen.
Absolutely. No, I mean that was the big deal, was the amount of people that really don't care about fishing that watched it, in my opinion.
And did you have I know eventually people were going to a second phone. Are you one of the people that were able to do that on the first one, or?
No, I did it on all of them.
I
mean, it was one thing that like I saw from the jump. There was no way I wanted to mess with just one phone. Because like
backup in case something happened. Yeah.
That too, and like the fact that week 1, week 2, you had so many people talking about them spending 15, 20 minutes, like submitting fish and getting back into the broadcast and stuff. And I mean, I guarantee you, I spent less time submitting fish in that tournament than I had ever spent submitting fish in my life. Just because I took a picture and I sent it to Amanda. I sent it to Amanda Brandon and it was good. And that was, that was really cool. So
cool. Jaxton?
Yeah, I mean, I really like the 2-hour format, that pressure cooker. I mean, it's anyone's game during that time. And like honestly, like Scott's saying, like it's basically it's you versus that time period. But I really like that. And another thing, I think it would be really cool just to have it on all public waters for the first 4 events, or the first 5 events, and then the championship. I think it would be really cool to see like the same lake for everyone for the championship. I think that would be super cool. And maybe
that's really awesome.
Have like periods or something too during the championship. But I mean, it's a great format. Scott and everyone did a tremendous job with it. And all of the sponsors. I mean, it was incredible. I mean, $1,000 for one tournament, like in 2 hours. That's insane. That's insane.
$500 an hour.
And shout out to Amanda too. I'm sure she was at the end, stressing out, double checking all of her numbers. I mean, whenever Scott was waiting on the results and they wanted to make sure they were getting it right. I mean, I felt pressure for her.
For sure. Yeah, going through all those photos and getting that live leaderboard up in the regular ones at least 2 or 3 times during the tournament. I mean, I'm sure that was stressful.
Is there? I know he has to do it when he does. You don't want to do it from at 7 a.m. whenever the bites are best during a shad spawn or something. You wish it was. Is there a certain time like you? I guess that's as early as you can have it without it being during the middle of the day, whenever the bite usually gets tougher, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it was that. And I remember, I guess it would have been 08, 09. There was one year on the Elite Series that they ran. I don't know if y'all remember, and they ran those, they called them memorial tournaments. And it was like where they had like a big, non-epidemic sponsor put up $250,000 for like the top 50 to go fish. And they ran those late in the afternoon. And I always thought that was kind of interesting. And they did that because they thought, more people would be off work, more people would be watching and stuff. But I mean, it is Saturday, so I don't really think it makes that big of a deal. But I like really a late afternoon one I think would be kind of neat. And you might get a little more audience.
Yeah, it would be tough because I guess depend on what time zone everybody's in, that would be difficult. Yeah. But maybe in the championship, whenever everybody's fishing together, you could do it in the evening and maximize your viewers. Yeah. So it's a good one. Maybe that's one of them that comes up.
Yeah.
All right. So you did it. You made all this money. What are you going to do with the money?
We're going to Disney World.
You can go to I don't know, somewhere. Well, you made $3,700. I think you can go on a nice trip.
What do you mean? I'm just going to be able to fish the rest of the year. That's where
there it is. Your fishing's covered.
He's just building a kitty.
Yeah.
So what's next on y'all's deal? with all the tournaments being postponed and local clubs are just now starting to fire things back up how they can. What do you got next on your list, Jaxton?
Yeah, so like I said, I'm gonna go to the Chickamauga Bass Nation recruitment event that's taking place Saturday. And then after that, I really hope to. I've got a couple local trails I'm gonna fish, probably support them. And I'm looking forward to that. But also, I'm trying to see if I can go to the Kentucky Lake Hobie BOS event. I think that would be a really fun one to go to. Not sure if I can make it yet, but I'd really like to learn those ledges. I tried it last year. I didn't do too well, so I had to go shallow. But I'd really like to learn those ledges this year.
He finished fifth place. He did pretty good.
Yeah.
Yeah, you got
looking at that and was like, didn't
there,
do all that good.
Right?
What do you have coming up, Cody?
I think I'm looking at doing like Table Rocks in 2 weeks, and it's the KBF trail event on Table Rock. They're kind of doing from my understanding, I think they're trying to do it in, as many like states as they're able to get permits for both days. They're kind of doing like a kind of a double header format to make up for quarantine lost points and stuff. So it's a 1-day tournament on Saturday, but it's also another 1-day tournament on Sunday, which is kind of cool. I mean, it's like, either you could go knock them both out of the park, or you could do bad on the first day and great on the second. So I think it's, or you just fish one if you could. So it's kind of cool. I'm looking forward to that one. And I believe that's my next one. If the Hobie on Kentucky is a go, we'll definitely plan on being there. My grandparents live on Kentucky Lake, so I've been there a lot. That's a good one too. Actually, I had a memory come up on my Facebook. I think that was like a year ago this weekend. So
that's pretty awesome, man. So Jaxton, you were talking about your local. I think it was 2 weeks ago. You and your dad went like second and fourth, first and third, something like that.
Oh, we lost.
I think we lost him.
Yeah, we lost him. We'll get him back here in just a second. So and you can just jump right back in whenever you get a chance, Jaxton. So Cody, everybody's, man, I think everybody's thinking, Cody again. Like how does he do it all the time? What's the key to your success, man? Like here's my perspective, or my guess is that most important thing out there, time on the water. Like, is that what it is? Because you're able to fish full time and able to be out there so much.
So, I mean, a lot of people have kind of asked me that, and time on the water is always brought up, and I'm a big believer in the fact, like, you don't have to have present time on the water. You just have to have had time on the water. I mean, you look at guys like Kevin Van Dam and Aaron Martins. They're not fishing 350 days a year right now. They're fishing a select schedule, but it's not because they didn't fish 360 days a year, for several years in their life. So I just think at some point you've had to have all that experience. I don't think you actually always have to have it. I just think it's something that at some point you've had to have been like that all in.
So you've built up your playbook so big that you're able to fall on that experience no matter where you go.
I mean, to some degree, I think that's what it is. And it's like, and I can never I can never give credit enough to what, traveling around the country, fishing as a co-angler with my dad, on FLW did. Like, that was unbelievable. I mean, getting to see, I mean, and even going to Elite Series events. I mean, I went to like all of those Elite Series events in 06, 07, 08. And Dad fished as a co-angler in a lot of those events. But, I would still get to go, and we drag our skeeter up and fish in them, like practice for them and stuff. And it's just, like because I had never fished tournaments on a lot of those TVA lakes. I had just been on all of them. And it's just like all that stuff helps a lot. Like, I can't tell you the amount of locals I've been drawn with on Kentucky Lake that's drugged me 2 hours down south to New Johnsonville out of Kentucky Lake, and just stuff like that. That stuff goes a long ways. I mean, and even just, and I remember Dad used to always talk about it. George Cochran, and there's so many really good Arkansas anglers, Larry Nixon, and it's just like, I remember being around like some of those guys, like kind of just at a local level, and messing around with people. And it's like anytime those people would talk, everyone would just shut up and listen. It's kind of like a Russ Snyder's or something talking now. Dude doesn't talk much, but if he does, like everyone's gonna sit back.
You need to listen. Yeah,
you do, absolutely. And it's like, I don't know. I just feel like I got to see a lot of that, and I got to witness a lot of that. And I mean, one thing I really don't give enough credit to, and never really have, is just. Both my parents were, both were collegiate athletes, like D1, D2 athletes, and it's just like that drive you get, is like being a competitor. Like, when you're able to instill that in your kids, like, never losing, and even when you do, like, there's still a positive. Like that stuff goes so far.
Yeah.
I mean, I've been watching a lot of The Last Dance. I know a lot of people probably have. The 10-part Michael Jordan documentary. It was just, I saw where Michael Jordan mentioned one thing about Phil Jackson in that episode 10, and he said he was the best person he ever saw about being able to sell the process to somebody. And like when you're able to really be in a process and fall in love with it and run with it, like you can really do some pretty big things. And it's like the one thing that's different in our sport is someone isn't selling that idea to you. Like you're selling it to yourself. And you're selling it to yourself, and you're believing in it yourself and executing in it yourself. And that's the one difference. I mean, it's each our own process. Like Jaxton has his own process that works for him. I have mine, and it's just like I think that's like it was a pretty interesting thing that kind of hit home with me the other day.
Yeah. All right.
What about you, Jaxton? What's your keys to your consistency? You've been having a good year this year, and I mean, last year and previous years as well. But is it similar to Cody's? You get a lot of it from your dad, lessons learned back in time that you hold with you?
Yeah, I mean, for me, it's experience. I mean, it's experience on the water, and like every tournament, win or lose, I'm always learning something. Since I'm in high school, it's hard to kind of get out there and practice a lot of times. So each tournament, like I said, is a learning experience, and I gotta just learn the lake while I can, and just take each time I go to a lake and just put it in my head so it's there for next time. And I mean, it's been awesome so far this year. I mean, I fished Logan Martin. That was my first tournament this year. Did not do as well as I wanted to there, and
me either.
Yeah, it was tough in those conditions. I mean, obviously Cody got on him, cashed a check and everything, which is awesome. But it was not how I wanted to do there, and I had to turn things around. And I mean, so far I've been very blessed this year with everything that's been going on tournament wise, and I'm super excited for this COVID-19 stuff to go away, so the live tournaments can start coming back and start fishing more of those and traveling more. And but I'm looking forward to the future and what this year's holds still.
Is there, I see you and Dylan, and maybe sometimes a little bit too much made of your age, the phenom, and you kind of get a lot of pressure put on you. I think because of that, maybe being young gives you an advantage sometimes. Like I'm 41. I would not have changed to another lake that day. I mean, maybe my boat's a little bit heavier. I mean, that just isn't something that would have probably came in my mind at a 2-hour tournament. So maybe some of those things give you an advantage. How do you? I kind of didn't want to talk about your age, but how do you feel about that? I guess I haven't heard anybody ask you how being younger than a lot of people that you fish against, like how does that go into you being an angler and what makes you different?
Yeah, I mean, I definitely being I guess a younger angler in the sport, I definitely put a lot of pressure on myself. I put a lot of pressure on myself to do well, and in the past, my first and second year of kayak fishing, I'll be honest with you, like I was super hard on myself. If I wouldn't do well, I'd be super hard on myself. I'd beat myself up and get in my head. And over time, like I said, those learning experiences, I've learned to just if I don't do well at all, like at Logan Martin, just use that as motivation and take everything you learn from that event and use it in the next one. And that's helped me out a ton. And well, like you said, moving lakes in the week 3 5 Live tournament. I mean, being able to drive now, I've had my license for a little over a year now, I believe. But I've learned that having the freedom to like load up easily with the Boondocks T-bone and everything. Uh, I mean, it's so easy to move on my boat and my Hobie. Just stick the wheels under and grab it and go. But I mean, having the freedom to load up, I feel like I do a lot better when I have that freedom, and that's why I'm driving to Chickamauga in my truck, and my dad's driving a separate truck down there, and we're gonna pre-fish down there for a few days. So I got that freedom to move launches whenever I want and try to find the fish, so we don't got to bring that big trailer with us because it takes forever to load. It's a ton of work, but I'm looking forward to it though, and see if that's gonna change anything.
Do you think that you maybe change lakes or change launches more than most people?
I do. If I'm not catching fish, if I'm not on fish and not confident in my area, I will move. And I mean it, if it takes time and I have that time to spare, I'll take that time and move. Like I'll drive if I have to during a tournament and I know my second spot's good. I'll drive an hour to that spot if I have that time.
And Cody, you got the house, you got everything all in your van. Like I said, whenever you were on here last time, I seen you launch that. You pulled that van at the Logan Martin event. You pulled that van to the water and back, dude. That blew my mind. Seriously,
it's awesome.
Yeah.
I never thought I would say I'd want to start van shopping, but I've definitely changed my mind now.
Yeah, in between you and Arbuckle out in California, y'all are making that van life look good.
Man, it's so easy. Like nothing ever comes off my kayak. You know, rod stay in it, tackle stays in it, catch board stays in it, everything. It's super easy.
It's got to be. I mean, I know I need to make a full almost checklist just to have everything. It never leaves there, so you can never forget it. That's got to be awesome.
Yep.
And absolutely. Scott asked a question here, and this is where I was going. My next question. Scott said, 10 years from now, what are 2 things you hope to have accomplished on off the water? Jaxton, I know you're thinking about going to college. Did you decide on where you're going to go? I know I tried to get you to go to Montevallo. I don't know if that worked out, but
yeah, I haven't decided yet. I've got my top picks, but I haven't decided. I'm still working through that process with both my mom and dad. But I mean, 2 goals for me. Obviously, I really want to fish in college. I want to try to take fishing to that another level and just keep going as long as I can in competitive fishing. I mean, doing what Cody is doing right now and cashing checks at almost every tournament, making a living out of it. That's amazing. I mean, that's my dream. I dream to be like that one day. And I mean, going to Hobie Worlds, that's another dream of mine. I really want to do that, and I will do everything in my power to do that, and I think that would be super awesome.
So do you see yourself, 10 years, if you do fish through college, do you see yourself trying to progress and leave the kayak fishing and get into the big boat world, or are you going to try to do both? Or, with the growth of the sport right now, in 10 years, you may be like, I think Scott said it earlier, y'all are going to be household names in this sport, especially at the rate everything's going.
Yeah, I mean, it's crazy. Yeah, like you said, at the rate kayak fishing's going, I mean, I wouldn't be surprised if there's like a pro circuit out there that you can really make a good living, kind of like MLF and bass right now.
Right.
But I mean, I do fish bass boat tournaments. I used to fish high school tournaments, but my partner graduated, so I'm not doing those anymore. But I do some Wednesday nighters here and there. I love fishing out of a bass boat, and I also love fishing out of kayak. I mean, they're both 2 different things, but I enjoy both of them. So I mean, wherever fishing takes me, I mean, I'll be there.
and yeah, that's kind of the question is, because I came from a bass boat too. Is there going to be like Cody? You do this full time. You have a couple other things going on, supplement your income, but to be, I mean, it's a super lofty goal to be thinking KVD, I swindle, guys like that. But to be able to make like a really nice lemon, like one of those in between guys, hopefully that's going to be possible one day. How do you think this is going to go, Cody? Or are you going to have to make the swap over to a boat to go from making it to, real money? Like really good money,
I mean, probably up until this year, like if you would have asked me, last year, year before that, I mean, I would have thoroughly said that, I intended on, fishing, somewhere in the open, somewhere, in the near future. Because like I said, I mean, I come from a bass boat. Fishing from a bass boat complements my style of fishing a lot more than fishing out of a kayak. But I mean, I'm not gonna lie, man. This has been a lot of fun this year. And with bass picking it up, with kind of FLW even flirting with it last year, with the 5 Live kind of coming up with almost kind of an MLF type feel. I don't know. I mean, it sure seems to feel like, something big will happen here in the near future.
Yeah.
It really does.
It's coming.
So, I mean, I was kind of flirting around with, I can't remember where it was. I don't think it was Dardanelle. I mean, there was one open I was looking at doing this year, but I don't know. It was in September. It's still open. I doubt I'll end up doing it, but you never know. But yeah, I mean, I really do feel like
it's going to happen.
Yeah, it will. I mean, because you already have a lot of guys that are kind of doing this. I mean, Josh Stewart's a really good example. I mean, that dude makes a fortune kayak fishing.
On
one
lure.
Jody Queen's not doing too bad either.
Yeah, do what?
Again, on one lure.
Yeah, he's just Josh seems to win all those like $30,000-$40,000 paychecks. But
so, hopefully it will happen, and like you said, things are changing so quick that who knows? And it seems like the more expensive kayaks get, and the more things we add, bigger motors, things like that, more money in the sport, more sponsors, more way to go around. And here's there you go. Fishing kayaks sales across the country are higher now more than ever. Yeah,
I've been told that by several people within the last 2 weeks.
That's awesome.
I'm sure that that was probably the stimulus checks was a boom for the kayak industry, because it's right there at you can get a good decent kayak at that price or somewhere close.
I can tell you that there's a lot of truth to that. I kind of work with Hook One Outfitters on their staff, and I was talking with their manager Chris Conder, and he said they were up like 15% sales in April in the worst part of that, because people still were online ordering kayaks, accessories, things like that. Like it's booming right now, and
everybody was dang sure on the water.
Yeah,
they were here in Alabama.
I saw that question that
I'll bring that back up.
So yeah, Gene was wondering how do you make the decision how to narrow down your lures when there's so many choices in such a small tournament? In 2 hours, how do you keep yourself focused, dialed in, and very collected and organized?
Did you bring less or more rods than what you would usually do?
It was probably about the same.
Yeah.
I'm pretty sure I had 8 rods with me. I may have had 9. And 3 of those were flipping sticks, and pretty much everything else was kind of like some offshore combinations between like a DT10, a DT14, a scrounger head. I caught quite a few on a flutter spoon the last day.
Scrounger.
I caught a keeper on a spy bait the first day.
Scrounger doesn't get talked about very much, but
it doesn't. No,
that's one of those low key things that people,
Yeah, it's kind of like a deep water chatterbait in a lot of ways. I mean, it's not like that high frequency, but it's like a lower frequency.
And that Aaron Martin's the Sunjin or whatever it is.
The Sujin.
Yeah, there's some big ones, I think over an ounce, where you can go edge fishing with them, So, little secret there. Get it out.
There's the juice.
Right? Yeah, a little bit.
I know Jaxton knows something about the Sujin head.
Yeah, they're awesome.
There.
Yeah, yeah, they're awesome.
That's right. So,
what about you, Jaxton? Did you carry more gear, less gear?
Yeah, I mean, I think I carried less. I think I had 7 rods day 1, 6 rods day 2. But I mean, weather's a huge thing for me. I mean, like obviously one of my favorite baits to throw is a chatterbait, jackhammer, tungsten knocker. I'll throw anything. But that wind, I mean, if there's no wind, I'll still maybe throw it, but I just don't feel so comfortable throwing that jackhammer. I mean, I just think the fish are biting better on a jackhammer when it's windy out.
Yeah.
But I mean, I had multiple worms on. Always catch them on a Senko, Texas rig or wacky rig, and I mean, I was going for obviously the big ones, but numbers was a huge thing for me. And personally, I think my best choice in the waters that I was fishing was probably the Senkos, the Texas rig and wacky rig.
Cool. You have any other questions before we wrap this up, Jimmy?
Oh, I'm sure I can come up with something. Well, I know. Okay, so just to talk about the boats, Cody, you made the switch. How are you liking the new canoe and the motor guide so far?
I'm absolutely loving it. I mean, it was like the way I fish, which is like fast with a ton of rods on the deck. Like it's such an open platform to have 6, 7 rods just laying in front of you. And I mean, that's pretty much what I do. That and being able to recess. Like I'm usually able to put 3 rods in each one of those. So I mean, I can pretty easily recess 12 rods in my new canoe. That I have a way more open platform than I used to.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I mean, it was really big for me. Like it really was. I mean, I've ran trolling motors my whole life, so like that came pretty natural to me. I feel like I know a lot of guys are just using that remote, and I do use the remote a lot, but I really love that foot pedal.
And see, I didn't know about that.
I use that. Yeah, that foot pedal's unreal when you're working shallow water.
I was one of the not anti-motor. It's just that wasn't really my thing. I was using one when I ran into you the day before the Logan Martin tournament, just because I knew I needed it.
Yeah.
I knew I needed it to just be somewhat competitive, just because I know how that lake was going to be with all the rain.
Right.
But I wasn't really on board with going with that bow mount setup. And then when I said hey to you or something, and you went past me and you hit anchor, it spun around and ran right back up to me, going up current. And that current was ripping that day. And I was like, hold up now.
Yeah.
How about you, Jaxton? Are you in that the 360?
Big 360.
Yeah, I'm in the Hobie Prendler 14 360. I absolutely love it. I mean, in that wind, when you're in the middle of the lake, or I mean, you're about to run into a stump or something. I mean, just one flick of the handle, and I mean, you're going that way. It's amazing. You can stay in one spot too. I am looking into a Torpedo. That's something I am looking into. But I mean that 360, it's phenomenal, and the kick up fins on the drive, I mean they work. I've had no problems, and they have been awesome.
So I've got to know though, did it take you some time to get used to all the hand control?
Yeah, it did. It took me a couple days to get used to that left hand, because there's 2 controls on that left side, and
Yeah.
it did take me a little time kind of configuring the rudder control in the 360. But once I got that down, I mean, it's just like it's built in. Like it's like I don't even have to look. Like it's easy to do it. Super easy.
And Cody, with your motor guide, do you just use the controller whenever you're sitting and the foot pedal whenever you're standing, or do you use how's that work?
Yeah, usually I just use the remote when I'm traveling and use the foot control when I'm fishing.
Even sitting down, you use a foot control?
I don't usually ever sit down and fish. It's pretty rare. Yeah.
Do you have yours set up with your graph and do like the heading lock and everything, or do you really just use it to get to A to B and anchor in?
I don't. The main reason being because I'm a pretty big believer in Hummingbird, and it doesn't coincide with Motor Guide right now. So that's that's the main reason. But yeah. I mean, I'm pretty close to getting 360 on there. I mean, it's supposed to drop, anytime this week with the megahertz. So I thoroughly intend on having 360 and 2 graphs on it by the end of the year.
That's sick.
Wow.
Yeah.
And since I have you here, was Motor Guide supposed to come out with something for something different for kayaks? Were they supposed to drop something at ICAST? Can I put you on the spot?
I'm not sure, but I think
No.
so. I think
I-
you can. It was
There's been some rumors, and I think I'm kind of waiting to see what comes out, see what I'm going to put on my Titan.
I know, a lot of guys have, bought XI3s and XI5s, and kind of cut them down or, configured them to like their boat they're using. But yeah, I believe in July, you're probably just going to be able to buy one and, throw it on your kayak.
A kayak length without the DIY. Cool.
Yep.
All right. Well, we'll give you all a chance here. We're almost right at an hour, and we don't want to take up too much of your time. Jaxton, anybody you'd like to thank, any sponsors, any shout outs you'd like to do?
Yeah, well, I want to thank you guys first for having both me and Cody on the show. I mean, it's awesome. It's a great opportunity, and I appreciate it. I want to thank my family, my mom, dad, sister, and obviously my extended family, friends, and sponsors. I have a great group of a support system. I'm truly blessed, and I just want to thank St. Croix Rods, Dry Dock Marine Center, Hobie, Cal Coast Fishing. I want to thank them. I mean, they sponsored me into this 5 Live event. I wouldn't be able to do it without them, and they paid my entry fee, and I'm very grateful for that. And Fishing Online, Trocar, Eagle Claw, Picasso Lures, Ram Mounts, Bayou Bug Jigs, Tourney Tag, and Tourney X, and Gill Fishing. I want to thank all of them.
Wow.
I'm very blessed as a 17-year-old. I mean,
Please tell me you've got a cheat sheet in front of you, because if you just remember all of that.
Yeah.
This man's prepared. He's a professional.
I'd write them down and still screw that up, man.
Hey, and we were talking about that Gill stuff beforehand. He had that Gill shirt on. Now I'll tell you what, if you're looking at rain gear and things like that, and you're looking at all the different brands, make sure to check out Gill, because I know I've got some, and that stuff is legit.
Oh, they're phenomenal. I wear their tournament bibs when it's pouring rain. I have no problems with getting wet. I mean, it's incredible what they do with their clothing.
Yeah, I've never been as wet as I was at tournament day of that Logan Martin tournament.
Oh, same for me. Yeah.
I soaked through and literally went and sat in the truck shivering for like 30 minutes.
Yes.
I never dried out and was like, well, I guess I'm going to go out again and do it all over again.
I'm seriously to the point.
7.5 miles in that.
I'm seriously to the point with my Gill gear where I feel like I'm at an advantage on the water, because I almost want it to rain during a tournament, because I know there's other people who don't have such good gear, and that it puts me in an advantage. So,
no, I totally get it. Yeah, like I was wearing a different brand on the Logan Martin tournament, and I was soaked. And I mean, ever since I got this Gill gear on, it's been phenomenal.
All right,
have to look into it for sure.
How about you? We talked about that beautiful Pursuit New Canoe with the motor guide. Who else you want to give a shout out to?
I mean, absolutely. New Canoe and Motor Guide have been really huge to me this year. I was able to get with Cash and Rods. It was actually the presenting sponsor of the 5 Live, and they've been phenomenal. I got with them, I guess, around the Classic time, and they are, I really like working with those companies that or they didn't necessarily start in the bass, like in the kayaking industry, but now are like kind of full board on that. And they're like, those guys at Cashin are totally that way. I mean, it's like they're all on board on the kayaking scene, and I mean, I'm really happy to be with them.
And they have kayak specific rods.
They do, yeah. Eric Jaxton actually designed a lot of those.
Did not know that.
Yeah, there might be some more coming soon. We'll see. We'll see.
So a step up from the CRTs, or like a.
It could be a step up there could be a step up from those, yeah.
Oh, see, that's what I'm talking about. All right,
you heard it here first.
Dakota Lithium. Stormy reminded me. I actually failed to mention them after 5 Live, but Dakota Lithium. Like I've mentioned this like on several times. Like it made for me because I had a new canoe with a trolling motor 5 years ago. It was the first boat I ever had. And it just didn't work then. I could only go 3.5 miles, like total duration time. Like I couldn't really, like the boats weren't, where they are now and whatnot. And I'm like, that Dakota Lithium was a huge part of me being able to use all that. I mean, I've gone anywhere from 18 to 20 miles duration time, dang near 100%, like power. So that was big for me.
So are you running the 100 amp hour?
I am, yeah, and I mean, I really want to probably switch to the 170 next year. A lot of people don't move as much as me though, but yeah, I mean, you can get 20 miles with the 100, which is an unbelievable amount.
That's insane.
And you have a fast boat too.
It is. It's pretty quick. Yeah, it's about 4.2, 4.3. Yeah, I mean, a Torqeedo may push it a little faster, but you're losing a whole lot of features. So. That in Fish USA, I mean, they've been huge for me for 2 years, and we're also huge sponsors of this, and like I've been really grateful for them to kind of tote me around the country for the last few years.
Well, they gotta love that advertising right on the side.
Yeah,
right.
Yeah, you were set up during 5 Live at the end where you had that van in the background. I'm like, this dude knows what he's doing.
Yeah, that was so unintentional. Like it started popping. Like it was lightning, storming. I was like, we gotta get back. And then it just stopped. Like it just stopped all of a sudden. I was like, well, we'll do it real quick. But it's actually kind of odd. I don't have very good service at the ramp. It's like all on the lake. So I ended up having to paddle back out there.
Well, good. Well, great. Thank you for being on show. We don't want to take up any more of your time. So yeah, congratulations, and we'll see you again soon.
Awesome. Thank you so much.
Yeah,
guys.
I'm sure we'll have Cody on. I'm sure we'll have both of y'all on, within a month or two.
Yeah.
Heck yeah.
Well, good luck at Chickamauga, Jaxton.
Awesome. Thank you so much. Appreciate it.
Later, guys.
I'll see you, Jaxton.
See you, Cody.
All right.
All right.
Awesome as always. 2 hammers.
Class act guys, man. Class acts.
Yeah, I mean they're really There's a.
I know we didn't want to talk about his age, but somebody made a comment about it that I saw pop up, and the knowledge and the experience that he has at his age already.
Yeah.
That's only, and I see that a lot here. NACA does a youth trail, and we've got a couple of my buddy's sons that already can whip our butt, and it's the same thing. Like when they see all of us sitting around talking, they come in, they take in all of it, and I don't know. You can tell that's how Jaxton's done it, and it's just going to continue to push him forward more in the sport.
Yeah.
And I hope to see more young people in the sport. I love seeing the young guys get out there. And it's fun with NACA. It's I think that they're not allowed to fish the youth trail after 16. They move up with us, and then you'll see them in the top 10 or top 20, and you're like, oh, here they come. It's no different for them.
Young people, more women. It's a great sport to be a part of, and that anybody can do it and be super successful at. That's one of the best parts of our sport. Can't say sport today, but let's go over some tournaments. If you didn't obviously the coronavirus is starting to take a downturn because there were a whole lot of tournaments last weekend. We're glad.
Yeah, there were. I picked out a few.
Oh,
did you pick out some too?
Oh yeah, here I'll start. There's a mess. Yeah, we're going to have to change this up because there's a lot of them. So first, I'll go fast. If I mess up your name, I'm sorry. You can catch me outside because I'm definitely going to mess up a lot of names. Great Lakes Kayak Fishing Series on Round Lake, 35 anglers. First place, Matthew Muscalero, 87 3/4. Second was Greg Vickers with 87 1/4. Third was Kevin Swain with 85. Next up, we had Buckeye Kayak Bass Fishing Trail. That was statewide. This was a 2-person team tournament, and there was 43 teams. First place was Anglerholics with Solace and Harrell, 92. Second place was Hobie Flippin, Cornelius and Minnow with 90 inches. Third place, Fat Guys in a Little Kayak Team with Strott and Moser, 89 3/4. And I love this name, Fluking Around. Allison Miskinnis. I'm probably saying that wrong. 88 3/4. Next, we had Northern Virginia Kayak Bass Anglers. This was a few different places: Potomac, Shenandoah River, and Lake Anna. 50 anglers. First place, David Steiger, 85 1/4. Second, Gregory Oaks, 83. Third, Charlie Hill, 82 3/4. Next up, Iowa Kayak Anglers on Mississippi River Pools, 13 14. 38 anglers. First was Tim Gurley with 86 3/4. Second, Preston Wegner, 85 1/4. And third, Jeremiah Burrish with 85 inches. Next was one I was in, Iron City Kayak Anglers, and this was their first ever Tourney X tournament. It was on Lewis Smith Lake, had 30 people. First was Hayden Sudduth with 53 1/4. And if you've ever been on Smith Lake, that is a big bag. Second, Lance Cooley, the River Hammer down here, 52 inches. Third was Sam Cox with 51 inches. Congratulations, Sam. I tied for fifth, ended up in sixth. I had 50 inches, so not 3 1/4 inches off the lead there. Yeah, do you want to do NACA?
Yeah, I've got two. You took all the rest of mine. So yeah, North Alabama Kayak Anglers was on Weiss Lake. They had 75 guys show up. Yeah. Shout out to Michael Putman. He took the win with 57 3/4, 3-fish tournament. Jared Atwell, second place, 54 3/4, and David Mayfield, third place with 54 1/2. And then this last one right here, Southeast Texas Kayak Bass League. They were on Lake Conroe with 44 anglers. Brandon Maley came in first with 100 1/4 inches. Big old Texas bags. Yeah. Tim Rodman in second with 86 1/2. So you had a huge margin of victory between first and second. And Tony Sebrin, third place, 86 inches with a huge 23 1/2. I should have got the picture to throw up on the graphic, but it was a good fish. But yeah, you took the rest of mine. So
well, here we had bluegrass kayak bass fishing on a Rough River Lake. That's weird, but in Kentucky, 34 anglers. First was Adam Shepard with 75 1/2. Jeremy Hayes, second with 75 3/4. Zach Bishop, third with 75 1/4. And fourth place, we usually don't do fourth, but is Jay Wallen, 74 1/4. Any day you can beat Jay Wallen, you're doing you're doing something right. Yeah. Next, Nebraska Kayak Anglers, Capital City Clash, 60 anglers. First place, Brian Robbins, 82 3/4. Second was Nate Gloria with 80 3/4. And third was Adam DeWitt with 80 1/4. Next, Moyak on Lake of the Ozarks, Arkansas, 66 anglers. A lot of big clubs. First, Brian Hillman, 85 3/4. Second was Dorman Hughley with 85 3/4. Third, Richie McMichael with 83 3/4. And fourth, again, we usually don't do fourth, but Lance Burris, 82 1/2. That dude is having a heck of a year.
Yeah, he is.
Yeah, next was big charity tournament. It's nationwide, but we had to talk about the 12th annual Yak Attack benefit tournament, raising a lot of money for charity. 114 anglers. First was Casey Reed with 62 inches. This was 3-fish tournament. Second was Jason Hensley. It's one of those One Direction guys. One Objective. One Direction is a boy band. Second, I should know that. Second was Jason Hensley, 61 inches. Third, Alan Sweat with 59 3/4. Next was Northeast Kayak Angler, Kansas Kayak Anglers. There we go. This was a road runner with 30 anglers. First was Cole Spriggs, 99 1/2, 99 inches in Kansas. Second was Garrett Rice with 87 1/2. And third was Josh Lutz with 86 3/4. Next up, Natural State Kayak Anglers, King of the String. This was a MLF style tournament. All you could catch, 72 anglers. I believe this is only one day. First place was Roy Roberts with 375 3/4 inches. Second, John Wofford with 346. Third, Jason Coleman with 321.75. I would not have wanted to judge that tournament.
I guarantee you those guys' arms are in slings right now.
Yeah, that's ridiculous.
That's insane.
Next was KBF on Pueblo Reservoir. That is out in the West region, 60 anglers. First was Bryce Gibbs, 83 inches. Second, Paul Ross, 79 inches. And third, James Strawbridge, 78 1/4. And next, SIAC, that's Southern Indiana Yak Anglers Club. Our boy Sam fishes in that. It was a Warwick County challenge, so one county, 26 people. First was Thomas McNulty with 79 1/4. Second, Brett McManus with 78 1/4. And third, Matt Cariff, 75 3/4. One of those two. And next, almost there, almost to the end, Long Island Kayak Bass Fishing on Monopoc, I believe that's right, Lake in New York, 29 anglers. First was Mark Fenner, 89 inches. I mean, these bags are
in New York.
In New York. Bailey from Serious Angler. That dude's putting up like high 20-pound bags up in New York. It's crazy up there. But second was Matthew Gregory with 87 3/4. Third, Luis Villegas with 86 3/4. And last but not least, Clarksville Area Kayak Fishing Group this was between Old Hickory and Dam and Chatham, one of the two, Dam. 34 anglers. First, Mike Chatham, so maybe he owns a dam. I don't know. He really loves that place.
Disadvantage DQ.
Maybe he changed his name to it because he loves it so much.
There you go.
I'm going to go with that. He got first with 76. Second, Tom Monahan, 66 3/4. So that Mike, I mean, he almost 10 full inches he won by. And third, Josh Sykes with 59 1/4. Da, da, da. Congratulations, everybody.
And we still only covered half of them.
Yeah, there's still a whole lot more. So that's it, man. First live show. Thanks, everybody, for listening. It was fun.
Thanks for everybody for sharing it up and giving us all those awesome comments and questions. And we're going to keep it rolling next Monday and find some other awesome guests to have.
So Mondays at 8 Central. Be looking out. PNF, the Reel Down, 8 o'clock. 8 o'clock coming to you. All right. Have a good night. Thanks for watching, and wear your PFDs. Bye.